Hello again, everyone. Michael here with Felicity, November 8033 Fox, a Cessna flight training device that I built here at home. And as I realize now that I completely forgot to update the description for today's the live stream here, we're not going to be doing any flying. I am going to be taking some time to go over my recent hypoxia recognition training experience. That actually occurred this morning at Kent State University Airport, 1 Golf 3. So it is Saturday, the 9th of December, 2023. I had planned on actually flying up there to take part in this seminar that was put on by FAA Safety, but unfortunately, weather kind of moved in, and I ended up ultimately making the drive. It wasn't terrible, about an hour and 45 minutes from door to door. Um, so yeah, I heard about this, or I learned about this particular event from FAA Safety. I am signed up to receive notifications of events and seminars within a certain proximity of my location, and this one just sounded really interesting. And fortunately, there was enough space to get everyone kind of worked in that wanted to take part in this thing. So we were supposed to get there about an hour before our scheduled flight time, and the flight time is actually when you're entering into the enclosure itself. And we'll go over some photos of that here momentarily. But the first thing we did once we got there was kind of had like a pre-flight briefing, almost like you would normally do in any sort of flight. But they went over how the machine actually operates. They went over the different signs and symptoms of hypoxia, and they provided us with a worksheet that included things like math problems, a little hand-drawn maze, a crossword puzzle, and we were asked to try and complete these things and check off any sort of hypoxia symptoms that we were experiencing. And I'll kind of show you what this sheet looks like here. Okay, so it's just kind of a basic worksheet, and I'm sorry if it's not very clear, but there's a crossword puzzle here, and there's a maze and things like that, and these are all symptoms of hypoxia. These symptoms are remaining, the same across, this is minute, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These symptoms are all the same, and you're asked to go through and check these symptoms off as, time is progressing. We were wearing a pulse oximeter, which sits on your finger. It records the oxygen level in your blood, and after every minute in the enclosure, we are asked to write down our oxygen level as well. So, unfortunately for me, I didn't have nearly the amount of symptoms as I was hoping. Minute 1, minute 2, it really didn't seem to take a whole lot of effect for me. Minute 3, I started experiencing some sort of tingling in my fingers, and I started to feel heavy. I was cognitive, I could move. It felt heavy. But that was about the extent of my 3 minutes in there, and of all the symptoms that they list here, and I'll just read them off here. Tingling, air hunger would be one of them, fatigue and headache, dizziness, hot or cold flashes, disruption of vision, numbness, or nausea. And so the only one I experienced out of that list was just the tingling in my fingers, and the one they didn't list, I was very heavy. 4 minutes, I'm still cognitive. And at this point, the instructor is now verbally, he's providing me instructions and having me write these instructions down like you would in an aircraft. Um, fly flight level 270, tune 121.7, squawk 1200, and turn 100 degrees. And he's tasked me to write all this stuff down, and I'm writing this stuff down. So then they get into um, mobile exercises while still, we're now 4 minutes into this, and they're having me stand up and stand down, sit down. I mean, they're right there, but in front of me just in case. And I'm heavy, but I'm still, I'm still cognitive and I'm still mobile. Um, so 4.5, 5 minutes come around. Then they're giving me scenarios along with, trying to monitor my symptoms as well. And then, you're on approach with an uphill sloping runway. What type of illusion is that going to cause? Well, it's going to give you the perception that you're lower on the approach. Um, so yeah, it's a very neat experience. And talking with the FAA guys afterwards, they told me that your symptoms probably aren't going to change. What you experienced today is what you'll likely experience for the rest of your life. While if you were to be in a hypoxia type of situation and or environment. And it was really kind of neat to sit in there. And I took some pictures here. Okay, so here's the enclosure. And it was really kind of neat to be sitting in here and watching the other, your other aviators that you're in there with, pilots, whatever the case may be, and watching how it affects them. There was, folk in there that needed to apply the mask, within the first minute, the oxygen mask, and there were other folk like myself who, after 5 minutes or so, are still going, not to full ability, but certainly not incapacitated either. So, while you're in there, there are some things, like I said, you were monitoring these different symptoms and signs, but you're also kind of looking around. They want you to look at, watch these colors, see how these colors fade, or if they fade. They had a vision chart here. It's the way they kind of focus. It'll looking at this. If you're experiencing hypoxia, it could make you dizzy. This little chart here is kind of multifaceted because it's got letters in there for you to try and read. Just all in all, it's a very, very unique experience. It was not uncomfortable by any means. It was not. And I do kind of suffer from a little bit of anxiety to doing new things. I wasn't really too anxious, so it really wasn't all that terrible if going into it. I did hear some stories about some people going unconscious, but all in all, it was relatively straightforward for me. It was kind of what I expected. I had the chance to watch the next group. And again, same type of things between people. There were, everyone's experiencing it a little bit differently and requiring oxygen at different times. So I guess when it comes to hypoxia, there really is no, it just affects everyone differently. And I guess that's why they can, I guess that's why training like this is very cool, because you get to experience what you get to kind of get a better understanding of your own signs to look out for. I think that's very important, especially as a rear world pilot, to be able to recognize those signs. Um, Granted, that was simulated altitude of 27,000 feet, um, which I'm never that high in a little Cessna, but air can sometimes get thinner lower. So I think that's really about it. I wish I had a little bit more to discuss about it with you, but I mean, the entire exercise lasted no longer than 5 minutes in there. Your briefing was about 10 minutes. That was probably the longest part. And then we did have a debriefing afterwards, and that's when we all kind of sat down back at the same classroom table, and the instructor went around and kind of asked everyone what their individual symptoms were. And again, it was really kind of neat to see how hypoxia affects different people and at different levels and at different times. So if you do ever get a chance to try something like this, like I said, they do come around and they move around the country. Jeffrey Becker's thing. Yeah, went for it. Yep, sure did. Euphoria is another symptom of hypoxia. I did not experience any sort of euphoria-like symptoms, but that is always a possibility. Well, Jeffrey, welcome on in. Thank you so much for your resubscription to the channel. 10 months in a row. Greatly appreciated. So yeah, and then again in the debrief, nope, no headaches, nothing for me. I guess it is. They actually said you're too healthy. You're gonna have to change that. But for legality, they have to kind of cut you off. If I had the choice, I would have liked to have stayed in there until I was able to show more signs and symptoms of hypoxia for me to recognize. But in the same sense, that may never have occurred, and I could have also went straight unconscious too. I don't know. So I'm hoping to be able to get a chance to experience it again. Like I said, they do move around the country, so I don't know how often they get back and forth, and I don't know how many of these machines they actually have. But yeah, if you do get a chance to do it, definitely check it out. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Again, they pre-email you an itinerary of what all you're gonna expect on the day, and then they give you a worksheet to fill out, while you're in the chamber there. And the chamber is already depressurized. I thought that you walk in and it's normal, and then they slowly, gradually start to remove the oxygen as if you were actually ascending. But in this case, it was already at altitude, so you're going from field. What was it? 1,200 feet was field elevation there. 1,200 feet to a simulated altitude of 27,000 feet. As soon as you walk through the second, there's kind of a easeway. But once you walk into that second set, there you're already in that altitude chamber, and it didn't take long. So that's why they wanted you to start, after that first minute. And again, for me, it was just I could do it. It just felt heavy. And then the tingling, numbness in the fingers. And the best way I can describe that same tingling or numbness is if like your foot goes to sleep, and you know what that's like. You get that tingles. So that did, while I was able to understand my instructions, his instructions, okay, 27,000 feet, 121.7, squawk 1,200, turn 0 degrees. While I was able to understand that, it did definitely have an effect on my penmanship while trying to write down these instructions. Um, so that's what I'm gonna take away is and that's what I am taking away is numbness of not so much my joints, but more so my fingers and hands, and just a feeling of being heavy. I don't know how else to describe the feeling of heavy, but it's just heavy. Um, so yeah, that's it. And I think that's all that I have today. I wanted to take some time to discuss this while it was fresh on my mind, because I do know how sometimes you can forget things over time. So, that being said, I do want to thank you all for coming in for a couple minutes as we talked about the hypoxia training experience. So yeah, again, I do hope you all take care and stay safe. Uh, Dreamin', hello, my friend. Thank you for coming in for a bit. Like I said, if you missed any part of it, it'll be on the Twitch channel if you want to catch up on some of the beginning stuff. But yeah, let's see if anyone's. It's a lot earlier than I normally stream, so is anyone on that we can go say hi to? I'd hate to kick you off here. Okay, yeah, no. All right, we'll go raid Eric Flight. He's doing something in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Member of the Virtual USA Flying Club. Jeffrey B. Just recommend. Yep. Okay. Yep. Eric Flight. So let's go raid Eric. You all take care and stay safe. Thanks for coming in. My name is Michael, and until our next actual unscheduled flight, I will see you next time.